current events. Welcome to thefoundation.com. Today is December 20th, 2023. Be sure to check us out. Welcome to thefoundation.com. You can sign up for the email list. We got a lot of stuff dancing over there, so just check us out. Also, we will be coming to YouTube with the shows very shortly. Y'all be on the lookout for that. And weekly, we do a show every single Wednesday. It is 9 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Check out the link in the description for more information. Make sure you do the dance, the likes, and all the dance, man, because you get tired of hearing that, so do I. But let's jump into these current events. You understand what I'm saying? Things are going down. We got Market Watch, sticky inflation in a key part of the U.S. economy is the biggest barrier to Fed rate cuts. Painful price increases persist in services. The Federal Reserve is winning the battle against inflation, high inflation, but the fight is not over yet. I don't think they're winning the battle. If you've, been looking to buy a home, if you have looked at purchasing a car, if you have gone to the grocery store, all of these things, you understand that. I want to see where they're winning on inflation. A parade of senior bank officials are basically saying it's not over. Why? The stern lecture Fed insiders appear to have been taken by surprise by a big market rally after the central bank left a key short-term interest rate unchanged. Last week, stocks jumped to a record high and long-term rates fell sharply. Investors viewed the Fed decision and encouraging words from its chair, Jerome Powell, as a sign the central bank would begin to cut interest rates starting in March, as inflation continued to slow. And I think that's got to be, with the effect on the market right now with regards to these high interest rates and how they're doing their dance and so on and so forth, right? And how it's affecting housing market, the services sector, the goods sector, specifically food, energy costs. I think, in order to cut rates, I believe the narrative has to be, we're winning, things are doing their dance, congratulate ourselves, and we'll start cutting these inflation dances. I just think that's what's going down. Painful price increases persist in services. The cost of goods, excluding food and energy, I don't know why they do that, was actually flat or unchanged in 12 months ending November 2023. That's a big sign of relief after the annual increase in cost of goods surged to a 40-year high of 12.3% in early 2022. It also explains the big deceleration in inflation over the past year. People just can't afford stuff. If you have credit card debt, I feel sorry for you. It's just, speaking of why $100,000 can't support a middle-class family anymore. This is according to a viral video from some, I believe it was a real estate agent or investor. This is from Market Watch. There's a gulf between homeowners who bought before the panorama and those who bought after. Is a six-figure income enough to support a middle-class family anymore? The answer hinges on two key questions, according to a video that's striking a chord on social media. In an Instagram reel that's attracted more than 100,000 likes, Orlando-based real estate agent Freddie Smith lays out why. In his opinion, some households are living comfortably off a six-figure income, while others are barely getting by. It comes down to two questions, he says, quote, when you bought a house and if you have children, it's making a huge difference in where you sit in the middle class today, end quote. Smith, who was 35, said in the video. According to Smith, and his back of the envelope estimations, there are two extremes in the middle class. At one end are people who bought a house when mortgage rates were under 4% and who don't have children in daycare. At the other are people holding mortgages with 7% or 8% or higher while also paying for childcare. Before and after the panorama. Smith's video, which has more than 5,500 comments on it, offers a quick summation of economic headwinds that have been mounting for homeowners since 2020. Consider the gulf between homeowners who bought before the panorama and those who bought after. In the last 3 years, home prices soared 37% according to the Case-Shiller Index, and mortgage rates rose from 3% to the range of 7%, both of which made it a lot harder for typical home buyers to qualify for a mortgage. The homeowner who bought a median price home in January 2020 at $266,300 with a 3.5% interest rate and a 10% down payment would be paying around $1,000 per month in just principal and interest. But a homeowner in October 2023 who bought a median priced home at $391,800 with a 7.5% mortgage rate and 10% down would be paying nearly $2,500 in principal and interest. The financial gap between those homeowners grows wider when the cost of childcare enters the picture. Though it varies wildly by state, city, and region, the average weekly cost of putting a child in daycare is now $284, up 53% since 2013. That's over a 50% increase in 10 years, y'all. According to the Cost of Care report by Care.com, that translates to roughly $1,100 for a month. In some high-cost cities, the monthly cost of daycare can run over $2,500 a month, according to some users on social media site Reddit. 2/3 of parents surveyed by Care.com also said they were spending 20% more of their annual household income on childcare. And if you think it's just childcare, it's not. There's food, energy, the price on goods and services are increasing. So, and this is the middle class. $100,000 a year is great for a lot of people, as long as you can keep your costs low. And I think that plus interest rates, plus everything that's going on, is the issue. CNN Business, Quaker Oats recalls dozens of products over foodborne illness. So Quaker Oats recalled more than 40 granola bar and cereal products because they could be contaminated with salmonella. The affected foods include the classic chewy granola bar variety pack, the chocolate-covered chewy dips bars, puffed and protein cereals, and even granola bars that are included in some Frito-Lay snack boxes. This is according to a list reported by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Quote, to date, Quaker has received no confirmed reports of illness related to the products covered by this recall, end quote. This is the Federal Food and Drug Administration. The Federal Food and Drug Administration. And this is what they said in a news release. The potentially contaminated products have best buy dates ranging until October 2024 and were sold across all 50 states and Puerto Rico, Guam, and Saipan. The Quaker Oats Company, a subsidiary of PepsiCo, has not responded to CNN's request for a comment. Salmonella is a type of bacteria that can be found in animal products, fruits and vegetables, flours, and processed foods like prepared entrees, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC estimates more than 1 million cases of foodborne illness every year are caused by this bacteria. So, be on the lookout. You mess with them Quaker dances, anything processed, anything that, all processed foods, be on the lookout. Also, Rite Aid's on the lookout. Rite Aid's reckless use of facial recognition got it banned from using the technology in stores for 5 years. This is CNN Business. Check this out. Rite Aid has agreed to a 5-year ban from using facial recognition technology after the Federal Trade Commission found that the chain falsely accused customers of crimes and unfairly targeted people of color. I mean, surprise. I think the models that are being used to program this artificial intelligence needs to be looked at. I mean, what are the models? What are the models being used? I think that's something very important that we need to look at. Nonetheless, that's terrible. The FTC and Rite Aid reached a settlement yesterday after a complaint accused the chain of using artificial intelligence-based software in hundreds of stores to identify people Rite Aid deemed likely to engage in shoplifting or other criminal behavior and kick them out of stores or prevent them from even coming inside. But the imperfect technology led employees to act on false positive alerts, which wrongly identified customers as criminals. In some cases, the FTC accused Rite Aid employees of publicly accusing people of criminal activity in front of friends, family, and strangers. Some customers were wrongly detained and subjected to searches, man. It's something to take into consideration. These are the things we need to pay attention to. It's not just people. It could be the artificial intelligence security system that is targeting you. And I'm just going to leave it there. Reuters.com, shipping industry in the dark over U.S.-led Red Sea Navy force. Long story short, you got the Houthis, who are allegedly backed by Iran. I don't know. It looks like they are, but I'm not there. I'm not on the ground. What do I know, man? I'm just some dude. They are attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea and the Strait. Let me just read this. Shipping companies remain in the dark. Okay, so there's a new international Navy coalition being assembled by the United States to combat attacks in the Red Sea. Many vessels continuing to avoid the area or canceling contracts. Sources who include shipping and maritime security officials say few practical details are known about the initiative launched yesterday by Washington or whether it will directly engage in the event of further armed attacks at sea. So the Iran-backed Houthi militants in Yemen have since November 19th stepped up attacks on vessels in the Red Sea to show support for Hamas as Israel's military offensive in Gaza continues. Their leader said the group would strike U.S. warships if it is targeted by Washington. Houthi fighters have fired missiles and launched seaborne assaults on ships from fast boats. Missiles fired have been repelled by U.S. warships. On November 19th, Houthi commandos landed a car carrier Galaxy Leader by helicopter and took it back to Yemen's northern port. The vessel and its crew are still being held. The attacks have disrupted key trade routes that links Europe and North America via Asia. Is in the Suez Canal and caused container shipping costs to rise sharply as companies seek to ship their goods via alternative, often longer routes. This is something I'm paying attention to. I typically try to stay, away from what we got, geopolitical stuff as much as I can. Who am I? I'm not like a political commentator. I don't view myself as a political commentator, but this is what I'm looking at, especially when you have the United States forces. They're going to go over there and, quote, protect these commercial vessels. I mean, the United States economy is heavily dependent on, trade, heavily dependent on products coming in, shipping overseas, a lot. So, I'm hoping that, this doesn't further escalate what's going on over here because, it's either way, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. Such as so, Reuters.com, oil rises on Red Sea tensions. So you have that. And the cost of oil increasing causes everything to increase because anything that's shipped by land, sea, or air needs oil to fuel the shipping vessel. let alone, the trucks on the roads, the Amazon trucks, the Uber, Lyft cars, all listen. It's just something I'm watching. CNN Business, Apple to halt sales of some Apple Watches in the U.S. Apple plans to stop selling some versions of the Apple Watch in the United States as soon as this week to get ahead of what could be one of the most monumentous patent disputes in years. The company confirmed to CNN it will no longer be selling its Apple Watch Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2. This is starting tomorrow on its website and from retail locations after December 24th. So anyone who has an investor mind, once these things are not available from Apple, you understand that the price of this Apple Watch Series 9 and this Apple Watch Ultra 2, it's, the decision to take one of the most popular products off the shelves follows an ongoing dispute with medical device maker Masimo over its blood oxygen feature. Apple has routinely marketed its smartwatch as a life-saving device, which has helped launch the Apple Watch into the stratosphere, making it the most popular watch sold around the world. But its skirmish with Masimo threatens to undermine that. Massimo. In October, the U.S. International Trade Commission ruled that Apple was in violation of Massimo's pulse oximeter patent, which uses light-based technology to read blood oxygen levels. President Biden has 60 days to review the ruling before a ban could go into effect. So, there you go. That's something I would say mildly serious. Speaking of mildly serious, via Reuters, this is U.S. News, Cheerios maker General Mills cuts sales view as price hikes hammer demand. Reuters, General Mills cuts its annual sales forecast today and missed second quarter estimates, warning of a slower recovery in demand following repeated price hikes on its breakfast cereals, snack bars, and pet food products. So they kept raising the price, so people ain't buying it. Its shares were down about 3% in early trading as Cheerios cereal maker also lowered the upper end of its annual adjusted profit growth forecast to between 4% and 5% due to still high input costs, primarily of labor. A series of price hikes undertaken to offset the steep input costs have pushed consumers to shop smaller pack sizes for pantry staples and pet food, as well as opt for cheaper private label alternatives. Quote, there's likely no more room to push pricing with continued pushback and increasing pressure from retailers, end quote. This is John O., an analyst at research firm Third Bridge. After several quarters of reaping the benefits of higher prices, General Mills now expects the impact to wane as it moves into the back end of the fiscal year. Quote, while we were cautious on General Mills' top line trends and volume performance, results were worse than feared, end quote. This is RBC Capital Markets analyst Nick Modi. Overall volumes in its North America retail segment fell 5 percentage points, while net sales were down mid-single digits for U.S. snacks like Nature Value and its breakfast cereals, including Cheerios and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So everyone's feeling it. And they're saying, oh, it's because they raised their prices. Everyone raised their prices. Everything raised its prices. So, some would say, oh, they raised their prices so people aren't buying. Or you can just say people aren't buying. Like, everything is people are being much more, what is this? Much more circumspect, Tight pockets. How about that? That's my grandma. Tight pockets. Yeah, tight pockets. Germany to seize more than $790 million from Russian financial group. This is Reuters.com. This is, you got the Western world, and then you have the Eastern world, and, you got the NATO countries and what is known as the BRICS countries. And this thing is escalating. You take $790 million. For me, fam, prosecutors in Germany said today they would move to confiscate more than 720 million euros, which is $790 million from the Frankfurt bank account of a Russian financial institution, making the country's first such attempt. German authorities have previously moved to freeze Russian assets in response to Moscow's full-scale invasion of its neighboring country, Ukraine, in 2022, but have stopped short of attempts to confiscate money. A source familiar with the matter told Reuters that the institution was the National Settlement Depository, or the NSD, the domestic payments agent owned by Moscow Exchange, which plays an important role in Russia's financial system as a key intermediary with international markets. Neither the NSD or the Moscow Exchange immediately responded to Reuters, blah, blah, blah. A filing on the European Union's official journal in September showed the NSD had demanded that the bloc recognize sanctions imposed on its illegal and pay for any legal costs. German prosecutors said in a statement today, which did not name the NSD, that the move was prompted by a suspected attempt to breach EU sanctions on June 3rd, 2022. And identified officials from the institution sought to withdraw 720 million euros from its Frankfurt bank account, a transaction that was rejected. Man, they was trying to pull them out. Like, look, we getting them out of here. We gonna cash out. And the bank was like, nah. For me, I'm just like, well, I'm not a country. I'm not a country with nukes and an army. Banks are getting bold. Banks are getting bold. Toyota recalls 1 million U.S. vehicles over sensor that could short circuit. Reuters.com. Toyota Motor said today it will recall 1 million vehicles in the United States because a short circuit in a sensor could cause airbags not to deploy as designed. This is 2020 through 2022 model year vehicles, including various Avalon, Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Lexus ES250s, ES300Hs, ES350s, RX350, Highlander, and Sienna hybrid vehicles, and could result in the occupant classification system sensor not working. These sensors ensure airbags deploy. If a small adult or child is sitting in the seat, dealers will inspect and, if necessary, replace the sensors. The automaker plans to begin notifying owners in February about the recall. So your airbag might not work in your Yoda and your Lexo. So check that out. Just do a search, man. And they talking about, we'll tell people in February. Okay, Reuters.com, Toshiba has been delisted after 74 years. Toshiba was delisted today after 74 years on the Tokyo Exchange following a decade of upheaval and a scandal that brought down one of Japan's biggest brands and ushered in a buyout and an uncertain future. The conglomerate is being taken private by a group of investors led by private equity firm Japan Industrial Partners, or JIP. That also includes financial services firm Orix, utility Chubo Electric Power, and chipmaker Rome. The $14 billion takeover puts Toshiba in domestic hands, so Japan's. They're saying that the previous investors were not from Japan after protracted battles with overseas activist investors that paralyzed the maker of batteries, chips, and nuclear and defense equipment. Man, so you got activist investors, you got the company delisted. I don't know all of the facts. So I will reserve judgment. CNBC, gold holds steady on Fed rate cut hopes, focus on U.S. inflation print. Gold prices held steady above key $2,000 levels today, supported by prospects of interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve next year, while investors awaited U.S. inflation numbers later this week. Last week, the Fed indicated its tightening phase was at an end and signaled that rate cuts are in the cards for 2024. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic yesterday said there is no current urgency for the Fed to reduce U.S. interest rates given the strength of the economy. Doesn't matter. Pay attention. Real money, gold and silver. Silver. This is from Ars Technica I mean, you probably haven't heard about this. I feel like they're trying to keep this under wraps to the point where, I feel like I'm pretty up on, events, current events, things of that nature, and I missed this. There's a second generation of this thing. I was very aware of the humanoid robot that Boston Dynamics put together, and they put together a dog as well. Y'all got to check this out. But Tesla unveils its latest humanoid robot, Optimus Gen 2, in a demo video. So Tuesday, Tesla released a demo video showing the latest version of its prototype humanoid robot, Optimus Gen 2. Over 1 year after Tesla's first public Optimus robot demonstration, which showcased shaky robots that waved and slumped over, things have apparently progressed quite a bit, assuming that the video accurately reflects the technology. The promotional video opens with a shot of Bumblebee, Tesla's first humanoid prototype from September 2022. Then it shows Optimus Gen 1 from March 2023. And after some teasing shots of a different robot, the video puts text on the screen that reads, "Introducing Optimus Gen 2, December 2023," as the robot performs various tasks such as walking slowly, crouching, manipulating eggs without breaking them, and waving its arms. It lists out all of the features, Matt, from actuators, the walk speed, the foot force, the human foot geometry. They reduced it by 10 kilograms, improved balance, so on and so forth. These, man, listen, if you work in a factory, you do any type of manual labor as a job, and you depend on that manual labor job to, support your life and support your family and your children, you need to pay attention to what they're doing with these humanoid robots, man. And most people are like, yo, they made the Terminators. The first thing they're going to do with these robots is put them in factories. These robots will not strike. These robots will not demand higher pay. These robots will not be sick. They're not going to be late to work. They're not going to start a fight in the break room. They're not going to get hurt on the job and, have to, get workman's comp and all this. You got to understand what I'm saying. Please pay attention. Speaking of paying attention, North Korea test fires ballistic missile with the potential to reach the entire United States. Now, this is obviously Japan that's saying, the potential of this missile, and it didn't even come anywhere close. It flew for 3,700 miles, and then it fell in the sea west of the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido. So, but, the Japanese are saying it can reach the United States, and they're talking about U.S. warships are shooting down Houthi drones in the Red Sea and what might come next. So, I think the geopolitics are kind of bubbling to the point where, I want to speak on them. Potentials are hacks of infrastructure. I'm talking no power. I'm talking no internet. I'm talking no running water. And this would be worst case scenario. I don't know if you live in a city, but if you live in a city, you may be seeing that they are installing these arms. Think of a parking garage and you got to pay to get out, and then the arm raises for you to pull out. Man, they're installing those on freeway entrances. They're installing those in the middle of highways, man. Leave a comment if you've seen them, please. Because I'm not crazy. I'm pointing them out to people. I'm like, you see that? You see that right there? Imagine if they put their arm down. You think people, what do you think? And anyone that's had the National Guard in their city understands that things can get different very, very quickly. So I want y'all to pay attention, be aware, and just, I want y'all to stay informed. Incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. So, that's it for current events. Appreciate y'all checking it out. Welcome to thefoundation.com. So much stuff there for you to be checking out. Also, sign up for the email list there. Check out the link in the description We got the Foundation magazine also. You're gonna want to check it out. It's something luxuriously beautiful. I can't even explain it. You know, all I can say is blah blah. So with that being said, y'all enjoy yourself. Have a great week. You know, stay informed, but enjoy your life. Y'all have a good one. Until next time, I am So L of the Foundation, and I'm out.